Football Power Index, they collect every single data point known to man in the game of football, and then they simulate the season thousands of times, and then it's going to spit out a, week-to-week new projected win total, odds to make the playoffs, odds that you win your own division, odds that you're playing on divisional weekend, odds that you can make the AFC title game, and odds that you can play in and even win the Super Bowl. Sound good to you?
Sounds great.
Okay. So the new projected win total, which last week was 9.9, so still on pace for about 10-7. The new projected win total, it only moved 0.4 of a point after beating the NFC Giants. The new projected win total is 10.3, so nothing really seismic there.
Nothing seismic, and also you just do quick math on that. What's it have the Broncos doing in their final 10 games? Going 5-5, right? 10.3 wins, more or less, this simulation thousands of times. They're saying they're going to be a 500 football team the rest of October, November, and December. I don't know about that. My expectations at 5-2 or 11 or 12 wins, Zach. I think you've put yourself in a pretty good position. I think you've got winnable games on the schedule. You got a couple tough ones as well, but 10.3, that feels on the low end. When you're 5-2, 10 is the bare minimum of acceptable wins this season, at least in my eyes.
So I agree with you on the surface. I agree with you. But I also understand why this number didn't jump a whole lot. So we have to keep this in mind when we do this exercise. This is not a model that is just going, you win or you lose, and then here's your updated totals. They're weighing in and factoring in who you are down to down on game day. So it's not rudimentary math. This is like calculus. And so what this Football Power Index is watching the Broncos offense. And they're taking into consideration the performances of the Broncos offense. And I know this is true because check this out. The odds to win the AFC West, last week they were 35% likelihood to win the AFC West. Broncos won a game. Their odds to win the AFC West went down 5%, from 35% to 30%, and Kansas City's shoots up to 50% likelihood to win the AFC West because, again, the model is weighing the performance in addition to the win or loss. And I think that when you put all the data points known to man with the Denver Broncos right now, despite winning, the model is walking away unimpressed like a lot of Broncos country is after watching 3/4 of that game on Sunday.
Yeah, and I get that, but also I think that says more about the Chiefs than it does about the Broncos. I mean, the odds makers now have the Chiefs as either favorites or co-favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think that's where they should be.
Yeah, and you're just unfortunately in the same division with them. They smacked the Raiders 31-0. They're taking knees with 2.5 minutes to go, and Las Vegas having 3 timeouts. I mean, that was the definition of Little League, we feel bad for you, we're just going to call this thing off. Pete Carroll's head coach with a lot of pride, done it for a long time, and he's got to sit there and watch Kansas City just go, you guys are so bad that we're just going to take a knee and call it good and go home. So I think the Chiefs skyrocketed because everyone's saying, well, we're really lucky the Chiefs have 3 losses, but how many games are they going to lose this year? 4, 5? I mean, the vast majority of the Chiefs' losses have probably already happened. They look like an 11-6, 12-5, 13-4 type football team.
They do, and getting healthier.
Exactly, and Rashee Rice is back from the suspension as well. So I think that one, to me, doesn't say as much about the Broncos as it more does, hey, guess what? You've suffered it the last decade, this team being in your division. Here they are again. The Chiefs are the Chiefs again. You guys are in trouble.
Yeah, well, you know what? I partially agree and partially disagree. I think I partially agree with the Chiefs component because that team looks like it's rounding into form and it's like, man, we've seen this movie before. But the other part that I maybe disagree with you a little bit is about their view of the Denver Broncos. And their view of the Denver Broncos is, I think, similar to mine right now, where the team has won games, and that's the most important thing. That is the most important thing. But I also still struggle with who they actually are right now as a team. And when it comes to the offense, we've seen 4 good quarters of offense through 7 games. And in 4 of the 5 wins this year, and you don't apologize, I'm just adding context why I feel the way I do. In 4 of the 5 wins, you beat Cam Ward in his first game, who his coach was fired a month later. You beat Jake Browning, who was benched a week or two after you played him, back up for the Bengals. You played Justin Fields, who was benched the week after, who's a journeyman anyway at this point, and you beat Jackson Dart in his 4th game. And I think that it sounds like I'm minimizing their wins, and I guess in some ways I am. But I think it just provides like context to, man, I just don't think this team has arrived yet, and I'm still gathering information on just how real this football team is. How much validity is there to their very glossy record right now?
Okay, all right. The 4 wins that you outlined, sure, but can't just leave out the 5th one. They beat the defending champs in their house.
They did.
Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley.
They did.
And the Eagles seem to have finally figured something out, at least last week.
Yeah, I don't know about that, though.
Well, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had huge days.
They did.
Huge days against the Vikings.
But this was a team going into last week had the 30th ranked offense in the NFL.
Sure. I get that, but I'm not saying you're cherry picking because 80% of the wins, you're right, you can dismiss as unimpressive.
And I said 4 of the 5.
Right.
4 of the 5.
But we just got to be careful to include that 5th win in there.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin here, Zach, I'm being serious.
I know you are.
They are literally 2 plays away from being 7-0.
Right.
Literally 2 plays.
And they're a couple more plays from being 3-4. So like this is the contrast of like what I'm talking about. Where it's like you can literally make an argument that the Broncos should have the best record in the NFL. You can make that argument without like overextending yourself and sounding like a psychopath. But you could make the same argument and say, man, you're a couple breaks away from being 3-4. So,
but then it probably all evened out in the end, right? You kind of stole 2 games, maybe you shouldn't have won, and you lost 2 heartbreakers you had no business losing.
Sure.
Maybe the Giants and the Eagles wins. Like if I had told you, hey, they're 5-2, but they beat the Colts and the Chargers, but lost to the Giants and Eagles, you would have said, okay, I understand how they got to 5-2. They just got to 5-2 in a weird way.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't go in a straight line. They
Right.
zigged and zagged their way to 5-2.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Also, what scares me a little bit, you have not used the word, but I feel like it's on the tip of your tongue, and I want to know if you're going to say it. Are you using the F word? Fraud.
No. No. Because the defense, I think, is too good. Now, the offense could be fraudulent. I mean, how would you describe the Broncos offense after 7 games?
Underwhelming.
Yeah. So
Underwhelming.
I don't want to use the word fraud because I think it's too strong of a word, and we're still too early in the season for that type of label. I mean, we're 7 games into a 17-game season. So, no, I'm not there. But, man, you talk about improve-it mode. I mean, I'm watching these games like I'm watching a scary movie when they're on offense, covering kind of most of my eyes and peeking out of one. Like 4 good quarters of offense through 7 games.
But it seems like you kind of want to put an asterisk next to 5-2. That's where I'm going with this.
No, it's not an asterisk. It's just context. It's just context. Like, by their record, they're among the NFL bullies. But when we watch the games, it doesn't feel like that on a down-to-down basis. It just doesn't. I mean, you've been frustrated during these games, have you not?
Oh, yeah. Go look at my Twitter.
Okay.
I mean, I love the gotcha guys on Twitter. I
Oh,
can't believe
God.
you tweeted that.
Yeah.
It's like, go look at the timestamp, dude. I tweeted when they were down 19-0.
Of course, dude, I deal with the same thing. The after-the-fact Johnny-come-latelys, when you're live tweeting a game, it's like, dude, you're the worst part of Twitter. Like, this aged well.
Right.
It's like, yeah, well, they're getting their head kicked in. It's like, should I not talk about it? Should I just ban from being critical? Yeah, so it's been frustrating. Look, you'd rather be in this position. These are champagne problems. We're being critical of a 5-2 football team, but we also know as halfway knowledgeable football fans, this isn't going to be good enough. This is not going to be good enough.
No, there's an element that feels like smoke and mirrors, for sure. Rabbit out of the hat, whatever analogy you want to use. There's definitely parts of this Broncos team that you're watching going, they had no business winning that game, and the stats back it up. You know, the first time in 1,600 games down 18 points with 5 minutes left or whatever it was. I mean, there's screen grabs of the Broncos having 8 points with 5.5 minutes to go in that football game.
Yeah, they had a .02 win probability.
Yeah.
With under 8 minutes left in the game.
55 minutes in, they have 8 points. They finished with 33.
It still doesn't make sense.
It's hard to wrap your mind around. I'll give you another stat. This one blew my mind, Zach. The Giants had 5 touchdowns. The Broncos had 4 touchdowns and a field goal. 98% of the time in the NFL, that's a 35-31 final score.
Yes.
5 touchdowns is
Yes.
greater than 4 touchdowns
Yes.
and a field goal.
Yes.
It makes 33-32 that much more remarkable.
It's insane. John Davis put it such a way in the final segment on a Monday where he said the Broncos had no points through 3 quarters. The Giants scored 13 points in the fourth quarter alone, and the Broncos still won the game. It's just, and you can repackage this stuff in all different ways, and it just still, even here on a Wednesday, 72 hours after the game, it's psychotic. So
none of it makes sense.
It doesn't.
None of it makes sense.
It doesn't.
And not to go like overly spiritual or religious, but like it feels like Demaryius Thomas was with them that day.
I know.
It
does.
My brain can't comprehend what happened.
Yeah.
It just can't. They had zero business winning that game, and equally. Little shot at Kevin Kistner here. He's going off about, why won't anyone give the Broncos credit? Because the national media narrative is the Giants collapsed. I'm sorry, Kevin. The Giants collapsed. The Broncos played great. The Giants blew the football game. 2 things can be true at the same time, to quote you.
No, and for sure, and that's how you have this one-off instance in NFL history, because both things are true. The Broncos seized the moment, and the Giants had a free fall in a single quarter, unlike anything I've ever seen. So, Let's go over some more of these numbers here. The new projected win total, according to ESPN's analytics, is 10.3, up from 9.9. Their chance to win the division, I mentioned this before, went down despite the win, 35% likelihood to 30%, because they're not looking at the Broncos at a vacuum. They're taking the Chiefs into consideration, of course, who are now up to 50% likelihood to win the division. Chargers, by the way, still hanging on to a 17% likelihood to win the division. But this is the one that I like the most. At 5-2, according to ESPN's analytics, the Broncos have a playoff probability that this time last week was at 68%, and after they won their 4th game in a row, their playoff probability is up to 77%. What a healthy number going into week 8.
Oh, it's a great number. 77 is a nice but robust number for this Broncos team that a playoff berth still sounds like salvation to me. It still sounds like I'm in a desert and need water. That's what the playoffs are. We got a little taste last year. We had one fun play last year, and then they got their tails kicked in by the Bills, right? Just getting back to the playoffs for a team that hasn't hosted a playoff game since the AFC title game after the 2015 season. I mean, that's huge, right? And I think this year, with how wide open the AFC is, let's even say the Broncos are the 7 seed again.
Right.
There's not going to be a 2 seed on the other side where you go, they have no chance. And I know going into the Bills game, we all said, well, who knows? Anything can happen. No one with a straight face thought they were going to go into Buffalo and win. This year, I don't care how the seeding shakes out. They can beat anyone in the AFC on any given Sunday, provided the Chiefs don't do something insane and win 12 or 13 straight to end the year and finish 14-3.
Yeah, there's really not that juggernaut in the AFC right now. There's no bullies in the AFC.
Like if they had to go to Indy tomorrow, yeah, that sounds scary because Daniel Jones is playing great, but I don't think anyone would laugh you off the mic for picking the Broncos in that football game.
Well, you did laugh me off the mic going into week 2 with the viability of that same team that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I'll show you grace here in this moment.
I would love to see your Colts future that you placed it on.
No. Old beefs.
My point is there's nowhere they can go where you're going to go, well, they're done. They have no chance. If the Broncos have to go play Indy in a playoff game, I'm saying it's a coin flip whether or not they come home winners. I didn't feel that way going into Buffalo last year.
No, and I'll say this, even if they had to go to Buffalo is I think, a devolving football team. And I root for the Bills, so hopefully I'm wrong about that, but I'm just going to keep it real. Like that team has real issues. They're not in first place in their own division right now, by the way. So
yeah, if I told you Indy's the 1 seed, New England's the 2 seed, and Denver's the 3 seed,
right? Can you
on
imagine?
October 22nd?
Can you imagine? Like that's insane.
That's some Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Jake Plummer like stuff.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, let's just finish up the numbers here, and then we'll hear from Sean. The Broncos odds to, and I love this number too. The Broncos odds to be playing on divisional weekend, which might be my favorite weekend in all of sports. 41%. To be playing on divisional weekend, which syncs up with the conversation we were just having, particularly if you're the wild card.
And that's the Elite Eight. correct?
Yep.
The NFL's version of the Elite Eight. And you're right, it's the best weekend because you get, an afternoon game Saturday, a game Saturday night, a morning game Sunday, and a game Sunday afternoon. It's just nonstop action.
Yep.
And it's the 8 best teams in the NFL.
Correct. So 41% likelihood that the Broncos are playing on that weekend is awesome. How about this one? The current odds for the Denver Broncos to be playing in the AFC title game, according to ESPN's analytics, is 20%. I just think that is such a healthy number from where this operation has came from. And then the Broncos' the current chance to play in the Super Bowl, according to ESPN's analytics, is 9% likelihood to be playing in the biggest game in American sports.
Yeah, so you're telling me there's a 1 in 11 chance that we need to book plane tickets to San Francisco.
That's crazy when you put it like that.
1 in 11. That you're flying out to Santa Clara, San Francisco. I covered Super Bowl 50 out there. I would love to go cover Super Bowl 60 out there.
Crazy. So these conversations are so fun because it's rooted in something. It's not manufactured completely. It's rooted in something. And last number I'll give you, chance that the Broncos win the Super Bowl and are the winners of Super Bowl 50 and 60. Oh, my gosh, 4%. So we'll see what these numbers evolve into throughout the year, but that is the latest update. Sean Payton asked about the Russell Wilson tweet right off the top of the press conference. Now, we know the tweet. Russ said, just to be inclusive in case there's one person out there who doesn't know what's going on, Sean took what we interpreted as a shot at Russ when he said, I told Mr. Mara, Giants owner, that we were hoping you guys made this quarterback change after you played us, meaning that we wanted to play Russ. Russ fires the tweet off yesterday. You said it has 39 million views. 39
million views. He called Sean classless and told him he was a bounty hunter.
Yes, classless, but I'm not surprised. You're still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media. Hashtag let's ride with some crying faces. I mean, the tweet's funny. You're laughing right now. You think the tweet's funny.
It's kind of funny.
The tweet's kind of funny.
It also was a shot at Sean and a shot at Broncos country.
I don't believe that second part. I think it was a shot at Sean, not Broncos country. But we agree to disagree on that. Here is a Sean Payton moments ago when asked about Russell Wilson's tweet.
Look, in the euphoria, the way that game unfolded, that was strictly about Dart. I mean, and I that was in no way, shape, or form anything that was directed at Russ. So, and I might be able to see how he might perceive that. But coming off that win and watching how he played, yeah, that wasn't any intention at all.
What do you make of his response?
It wasn't about Jackson Dart. It was about Russell Wilson. Come on, man. We're smarter than that, Sean. You threw a jab at Russ because you probably had a latte or two in the post-game locker room, and I'm obviously using that as an analogy here, metaphor, whatever.
We know.
But my point is that you took a shot at Russ. Russ has now sent a viral tweet back going after you, and you just want to squash this thing. But he didn't exactly own it because he also acknowledged I could see why Russ took it that way.
Yep. Yeah, he did squeeze that in there. He did shoehorn that in there. He said, I might see how he took it that way. But if you looked at this exchange just in a vacuum, if you looked at Sean's comments just in a vacuum, Sean has good footing to defend himself. But when you know Sean the way that we do know Sean, you have actually lost the benefit of the doubt because you have taken shots through the years. And, I mean, they're innumerable. I mean, Sean is just so unique that way. And it's fun as a media member because he gives us so much material. But this is someone who had to apologize as a Broncos coach before he ever coached his first game in Denver because of stuff that he said and shots that he took. So
at Nathaniel Hackett.
I mean, it was he put through Broncos team president in there, Damani Leach, talking about the dirty hands that allowed this thing, to I mean, but Sean, that's in a long list. He took a shot at Lauren Landau at the end of the season and really rubbed his face in the injury numbers. I mean, that's Sean. If he has the chance to take a shot, he's going to take a shot. He had a chance, and he took it. And then I don't think he was thinking that Russell Wilson was going to try to throw a haymaker back at his jab. So it is what it is. It's all good. It's really not that big of a deal. But a new chapter in a story that I just didn't see coming when I woke up yesterday morning.
No, I didn't either. I didn't think Russ would fire off a tweet like that. There's no doubt about it. But just real quick, you don't believe Sean either, right?
No.
With that answer we just played.
No way, shape, or form. How about that? No way, shape, or form was that the truth. As he tries to say, no way, shape, or form was that a shot. So, all right, you want to react to that? You can hit us up on the